Hello, Year 8. Welcome to the lesson on translations. So, what is a translation, or how do we translate an object? Well, if we have a look at this grid here, we can see that the letter A is on the grid. It's in the coordinate -3, 2. If I select A and I now move it, it's in this position. That is called a translation. It's when an object moves from its original position. So how can we describe what I've done there? Well, A actually moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares to the right. What if I moved A to a different position? So what if I moved it there and to here? Well, what would happen there then? Well, from its original position, it's gone 1 square left, and it's gone 1, 2, 3, 4 down. A translation simply moves an object around. Okay, we need to know then what sort of instructions we're going to be given in order to perform a translation. So have a look at this. We can either do it on a plain piece of square paper. So here is a shape which I've labeled A. If I wanted to do the following, move it 3 squares right and 2 squares up, then I would do the following. I would pick a corner off the shape. So I'm going to choose this corner, and I'm going to move it 3 to the right and 2 up, and it gets me to this position here. If I now move another corner of shape A, again, 3 squares to the right and 2 up, it takes me here. If I do that for each and every point, so this corner, bottom left corner here, 3 to the right and 2 up, it will then give me all the new positions on the grid for my shape. So again, 3 right, 2 up. If I do this point, 3 right and 2 up. And don't forget this point here, 3 right and 2 up. Now you can see I've got all the information that I need, and that shape is now in a new position from the original shape, 3 to the right and 2 up. So we need these instructions here in order to help us move the shape. We can also do it on a grid like this in exactly the same way. If I wanted to move it 3 to the right and 2 up, exactly the same thing would have happened as without the actual axes on the grid. So what I want us to have a look at now is we're going to move from A to each of these shapes. How do I move from shape A to shape B? Well, in order for me to do that, I need to pick a common corner on each shape. So I am going to pick this bottom left corner here. And if I want to move from shape A to shape B, I'm going to move 1 square to the right, and I'm going to move 4 squares up. If I do that for each of my corners, then that will get me onto shape B. So I could write this column vector down that would describe how to get from shape A to shape B. -1, 4. If I want to go from shape A to shape C, then again, I could pick the same corner off each shape, this bottom left one. How do I get from shape A to shape C? Well, I go down 2, and I go to the right 5. So on this one, a column vector would look like this: 5, because it goes 5 right, -2, because it goes down 2. So we can use column vectors to describe how a translation has been performed. So have a look at the next slide. Make some keynotes as you're going along. Okay, so translations means to move the position of the shape only. It is not to flip the shape or rotate the shape or even enlarge the shape. The shape will look exactly the same. It can be moved using a vector which looks like this: x over y. Now, we've seen x and y before from coordinates. So if we have a look here, all right, the x part describes going left or right. and the Y part describes going up or down. So let's have a look then at this column vector at the top here. 2, 4. Well, this 2 on top means it's positive 2, so it's going to go to right. And the 4 on the bottom is up or down because it's positive, it goes up. So this vector, column vector, would move a shape 2 squares to the right and then 4 squares up. If we was to look at this second one here, the top one is left or right. So -5 means the shape is going to move to the left. So to the left 5 squares. And -7 at the bottom means going down 7 squares. So that shape would move 5 squares to the left and 7 squares down. Pause the video and see if you can write down some instructions for the bottom column vector, -2, 6. Well, the top here tells us to go to left, and the bottom here is positive, so it means we go up. The shape would move 2 squares to the left and 6 squares up. Okay, let's have a look now at the first example. So on my next slide, I'm going to show you a grid with a shape. It's called shape A. And what we're going to do is we're going to translate shape A. That means we're going to move it using this vector here, -1, 4. Well, first of all, that number on top is left or right. Because it's minus, it means it's 1 left. And because this one number on the bottom is positive, it means we're going to go 4 up. Once we've moved it and drawn our new shape, we're going to label it B. So we're going to move it 1 left and 4 up. So here's shape A. I'm going to pick a corner. So I'm going to pick the top corner here. And I'm going to move it 1 left. And I'm going to move it 4 up. So I'm doing some counting now. 1 left, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. And that corner will move to that position. And you'll notice is if you pick the other corner and go 1 left and 4 up, it follows around. So that's the top. Now I've drawn the top. Really, I can just draw the shape out. But if I pick this bottom left corner, go 1 left and 4 up, it gives me that position there. I know the bottom of the shape is 3 squares along. I know I can complete the shape because the shape is not going to change in any way. That is where it goes. That is where shape B will be positioned. If I go back to my instructions now, part B is asking us to translate shape A again, this time using the vector 2, 3. So the 2 on top here is positive, so it's going to go 2 to the right. The 3 on the bottom here is negative, so that means it's going to go 3 down. So I've got to move every corner 2 right and 3 down. So back to the grid, 2 right. So I'm going to use my red pen this time to try and move this one. So I'm going to pick this top left corner again. So just recheck on the instructions, 2 right and 3 down. So go 1, 2 to the right and 1, 2, 3 down will get you that position moved to there. And again, just pick another corner. That one's going to go 2 right and 3 down, so it goes here. And again, then you can see that the shape will not change at all. It will just move to its correct new position. And we would label that one C. I hope that makes sense, year 8. Okay, example 2 then. On my next page now, I've got a grid which has a number of shapes. What we're being asked this time, though, is to describe the translation that maps shape A onto shape B. So that means going from A onto shape B. So let's go to the grid and see what's happened. So shape A is here and shape B is on the right-hand side. So I'm going to pick a corner on shape A and I'm going to pick the corresponding corner on shape B. Well, what's happened then? It's gone 1 square, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And that's it. It doesn't go up or down. So to get from shape A to shape B, it's just gone 7 right. We're in a column vector. The left and right is the top. So 7 right is positive. Have a think whether there's something missing here. It didn't go up or down. So therefore there's a 0 in the Y column vector. Let's have a look at the second one now then. How do we translate shape A onto shape C? So let's go back to the grid. Shape A, I'm going to use a different color pen, but I'm going to pick the same top corner. So there's shape A, here is shape C. How do I go from shape A to shape C? Well, it's 1 to the left, and then 1, 2, 3 squares down. So it's gone 1 left and 3 squares down. Well, how do I put that into a column vector? Well, 1 left, that goes on top. So as it's gone left, it's -1. 3 down, -3. And that's the column vector that maps shape A to get you onto shape B. And finally, how do I get from shape C onto shape B? Well, let's go back to the grid. I'm going to pick a different color pen again. I'm going to pick a different corner. So I'm going to pick the bottom right corner of both shapes. And how do I get from shape C to shape B? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the right. 1, 2, 3 up. So it's gone 8 squares to the right and 3 squares up. How do I write that down in a column vector? Well, 8 to right, that goes on top, it's positive, and 3 up is positive, so 8, 3. I hope that makes sense to you, Year 8. What I would like you to do now is make any notes from what we've discussed, and I would like you to open the form up in the assessment. It's called Translations, and I'd like you to have a go at that sheet for me, please. When you're done, will you have a look at the following checking questions? Number 1 has been taken off an actual GCSE exam paper. It's worth 2 marks. So read it carefully and have a go at answering it. And number 2 is just asking you to work out what column vector you would use to translate B back to shape A. Have a go at it. Good luck.